So Jean, thank you so much for coming, and I'm looking forward to it because it's been so long.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. No, first off, Rhonda, thank you so much for having me. It's like a huge pleasure because, you know, I don't get enough opportunities to go out and like share myself with others because I get tunnel vision when I get into my art world. You know, if I'm talking to someone, I'm with you, and sometimes I get kind of caught up. But it's good to get out and be a part of civilization because as artists, you know, we get like, I can get so caught up and I can just be in my world sometimes, but now I have a lot to share with you all. So without further ado, let's go right into it. So my name's Jean Esther, and I am the founder and lead artist of Art Corner. Art Corner is the website that I created to offer my services to people because I didn't know how to do it. I wasn't a business person, and I'll tell you a little bit about my story, but that's how I first started. But next slide will show you more. Here we go. Check this out. All right, so Art Corner is my art service company, like I was saying before, artcorner.net. So .com was taken, so I was like, man. So I got .net, but it makes more sense because net means network, and I've always been networking with people to kind of create where I am now. So it's my website. I redesigned it, and one of the biggest things that I created when I created Art Corner was inspired to create. You know, I was always inspired to create. What I love to do is art, but the thing that I came across that was my big passion was teaching, and I'll tell you more about that when we continue, okay? All right, so yeah, if you could play this. This is actually the new website that I created literally about a week ago. I finished it a week ago, but it's brand new. I redesigned it. Basically, it's just something that. Oh, can it play? Oh, it should be. If you click in the middle, it should play. It's okay if it can't play. We can go to the next clip. I was just going to show you guys a little bit about the website, how it works. But basically, I offer my services there. I do portraits, painting, illustrations, book covers, website designs, logos, animations, anything that I've learned along the way of in my art career, I offer it as a service because, you know, once you get good at something, you know, you can confidently share it with people. That's what you got to do, you know. So, all right, before I tell you more about my art career, I want to let you guys know a little bit about my past, where I'm from. I'm actually not born in America. I'm actually born in this little island right there, Martinique. It's a French island in the Caribbean. Yeah, if you've ever been there, it's beautiful. It's great. So my first language was actually French. So je parle français très bien. Right. So a lot of people wouldn't guess that because people say I speak pretty proper. So I'm like, hey, that's pretty good. But now I'm a citizen. I'm a proud citizen of America. But that's definitely my humble beginnings. And the next slide will show you where I really came from. Right there. There you go. My parents. Yeah, mom and dad. That's my dad. That's my mom. And they brought me and my sister here to America when we were about. Yeah. Big forehead. I know. I was so self-conscious back then. But yeah, that's me back then. And my sister was like. She was like actually the first artist. I think I picked it up after her because she was just naturally good at it, and I always looked up to her because she was so tall. But and I remember she was always good at drawing. So I guess that is a family thing that kind of came across. And right there is when a few years, I think I was about 6 or 7, but around 9, I think that was the age when I realized like art. I discovered art. Art was like a thing that I was kind of good at. I didn't know I was good at it until I tried it. And I was touted as a class artist since 2nd grade, and I think that kind of stuck with me. So, from Martinique, came to New York, all right, and New York, self-explanatory. I grew up there, and the town that I lived in was called Westbury, New York, and it's a small suburban town in New York, and nothing but the best memories there. I grew up there, and it's been nothing but fun. Next. Yeah, Westbury, New York. And that's me right there. So I graduated 8th grade, and I think by the time I was in 8th grade, that's when my art career took off because I was in middle school, and my teacher, it's always about the teachers that play a big part in your life. My 8th grade art teacher, inspired me to apply to this school that was only for high schoolers, you know. I was in 8th grade, and she said that I was good enough, I can make it. And I didn't know what she was talking about. I was like, what is it? And she said, there's this art program called Bo Sees Cultural Arts Center. I'm gonna help you work on your portfolio so you can audition to go there. And I did, because I was like, all right, I think I can do it. I'm up for it, and I love that. That was the best idea ever. Next. So here's the deal. Before I show you the school I went to, this was my skill set. I was really good at illustrations, and I was really good at fine arts. And my teachers would gear me towards fine arts because they were like, wow, you can look at something and draw it. You're amazing at it. You have the patience for it. You have the good hands for it. I was left-handed. I don't know what that had to do with anything, but fine arts was a big thing. But I always loved to kind of joke around and do cartoons because my friends were always asking me to draw things. So I was like kind of living this double art life here, because it's usually like that because they kind of separate you in both camps, you know what I mean? Next. So, but the school that really saw my abilities was BOCES Cultural Arts Center. It was like a school that only accepted, students with that talent, So if you were an artist, a musician, if you played music, if you were an actor, if you danced, it was a performing arts school. So you had to audition. They only accepted a certain amount of people, and what was really rare is that they only accepted a few ninth graders, and I was one of the few that they accepted. Next. And I was there from ninth grade, and when I was there, that right there was the schooling that I needed, because from ninth grade to 12th grade, I learned painting, drawing, computer design, animation, photography, all the classes, everything that I do now, I owe it all to that school. But that was when I was only in high school. High school was the most pivotal point in my life because it gave me everything that I needed to know to decide on what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Next. And I was a newspaper, they put me out there. So after I graduated high school, I was like, all right, let me go to an out-of-state school. Worst idea, terrible idea, because I could have stayed in New York, and New York has a lot of great art schools, but they didn't give me the scholarships that I wanted, I guess. So, but this school was like great. They were like, hey, we'll give you like 2/3 scholarship, and they got me there. And unfortunately, next, University of Hartford. I think it was at the time like number 3 party school, which was not good. So unfortunately, that's what happened was I couldn't stay in school. I only was able to stay 1 semester, and unfortunately, when it comes to colleges, money counts. They really care about getting you in, but once you're in, they don't really care if you stay or not. They just want to, because a lot of kids just drop afterwards. So it's very tough. But my dean fought for me to stay there, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to come up with $5,000 extra every year to pay for it. So it was really tough. So that's what happened. It was almost like a low point in my career, because I thought I was like, I'm an artist. I'm going to become an artist. I'm going to go to art school, and I'm going to become, I'm going to get it. So after 1 semester, it didn't happen. My life totally it was like depression kind of set in really bad. And that was the time that I actually quit art. I quit art, yeah. Because it's like, well, college quit on me, so I was like, I quit art. So that's what happened. But it wasn't all bad, because guess what? In high school, I had this amazing girl that stuck with me until now, because she's my wife now. And she was the best thing that kept me going. She was like, don't worry, it's, while I was in college, she unfortunately signed up for the Navy. Don't ask me why, but she, we stayed together. And once she found out that I couldn't stay in college, and she was going to the Navy, it was almost like the worst thing. So I'm coming home and she's going away. So it was one of those tough things. Next. So yeah, but guess what? Good things happen. So I was like, forget the art. Yeah, let's do a family thing. Families are good. It helps you grow up, right? So that's what happened. But unfortunately, so my wife was in the military, so we lived in San Diego at the time, and so art was really not a thing right there. So I was in my 20s. I was 22, 23, very young, and I was a young family. I was married with a child, and we were living on our own on the opposite side of the coast. So it was tough at first. Next. All right, but the good things is the kids got older, and guess what kept on coming back up? Art. That passion, I was a successful dad. I'm like, wow, look, I created another, and I did it twice successfully. And, well, my wife did, but I helped raise them, but the art came back, and that was the time where I moved to Reading, Pennsylvania. Next. And guess where I came next? So Reading, Pennsylvania was the place I got to, and where did I quickly go to find out where I can do this art thing, because it was boiling inside of me. It was something that I needed to do. I went to the Goggle Works because the year that I came was the year that I think it opened up.
2005.
2005. I came in 2004, so 2005 it opened up. Next. And guess what? So I was one of the younger artists there at the time. I was young then, 25 or 26, and they were looking for an art instructor. Had no experience in teaching art, never did it before. I was great with kids. It's just a connection that I have because I remember being a kid, and I can relate to kids very well. So I signed up for it, and thank God I took a picture of this. My first group, the wildest group ever, but man, they were amazing because they respected me because once they saw me draw and once they saw me kind of lead a class and show them amazing things, they respected me. They wanted to learn from me, and it was a great class. So we did a lot of great things. Next. I taught them shading, all the fundamentals, things that I knew and I learned since I was in high school. I taught them, and they were with it, and it was just poetry emotions. I'm glad I took some of these pictures. This is my first class right there in the Goggle Works. So the Goggle Works was like a great place because I learned a lot. I connected with a lot of artists, and more importantly, I connected with the most important artist for the next slide. All right. Opportunities came around.
There's my girl.
Studio B. Another studio from Pottstown was looking for an art instructor. And of course, across my studio at the Goggle Works, I'm gonna take a picture of that. I had Sue Bebeck was right across the street, and she was like, would you be interested in going to Studio B? Because they're looking for an art instructor. It's a great opportunity. I couldn't turn it down, and I did it. As soon as I did it, I think I was there, and I never left. I was there for like 15 years, nonstop, teaching art to my students. This was my first group of kids. She's in college. She's an artist. Oh, Edie, where's Edie at?
She's in the Virgin Islands.
In the Virgin Islands. All grown up. These literally my first group of kids, and I could probably say that they are. A lot of them are artists right now because of that whole experience. It was great. Next. And these are more pictures. Look at Eve. God, I got these pictures. So, artists. And these are just great pictures. I just want to show you that, all from my experiences, things that I can never take away. Because I look at these pictures and it just reminds me of that very day, So, it was a great experience.
Look at Jonah.
Yeah, Jonah, remember? Dude, he's a musician, man.
Yeah.
So they at Studio B, we did everything. There was an art bus. I ran the art bus for many years. Then later on, they had the second half of the studio. I taught them there.
Is that the Strawberry Festival?
This was at the Strawberry Festival, or was it at the fair?
Was it the farm market that you were running?
The farmers market. It could have been a farmers market.
Yeah.
Yep. Next. So just kind of running it through, and of course these are some of the kids that were actually at Studio B and then actually ended up being private students because they wanted to learn a little bit more. Josh and
just make up a name.
You don't know what it is, yeah.
Yeah,
more pictures. So private students. So I taught kids in studios and private students, and then later on, I would go to schools. I actually went to a couple schools in Pottstown, schools in Reading. I had my clearances, so I can go there to inspire the kids because I was hooked. I was like, hey, I have a gift to inspire kids to do what they love. Let's see what I can do with it. So it's a video. I don't know, can it play at all? Or so it's really quick. A little video of what I would do on my everyday as an artist. So my kids, and this was actually my son's school. Yeah, he went to this school, and I would go to the school where my kids would go to, inspire the kids. So everybody knew who my kid was. So they were super popular. My dad's awesome. So go to the school, inspire them, show them what an artist does, so we can have another generation of artists. Because it's a hard profession, but you need to kind of really start early. That's what I've always said. It's not It's not as easy if you start late, but if you start early, you kind of roll into a professional thing, you know? All right, next. So that's where I was at so far, and then it grew into this. So from my paintings, and then I got into more of my illustration. The illustration thing started coming back again. I was like, oh, I could only do fine arts. I can only look at something and draw it for so long. I want to be able to manipulate it, change it. Illustration, all right? So from paintings, I started doing caricatures. I was like, hey, I can draw people, fine. Can I kind of change them up? Can I make them into caricatures? So that was when, like, I started doing that. I started doing fairs and started doing ink work and started doing ink drawings. So this is when I started experimenting with all types of different mediums. Next. And this is when then it became like, all right, I could do caricatures. Let me add that as a thing, and big things started happening. So I started doing fairs and events at Studio B. I did a lot of work for the Reading Fighting Phils. This is the whole front end, the front office crew. So the general manager hired me. He was like, he wants them all, to draw all of them. He just paid me to draw everybody, and I was like, yeah, it was great. And so that was a great experience. So caricatures was another skill. And then so it became like my thing now. So I would do portraits, more realistic portraits, family portraits, group portraits, pet portraits. All right, next. No, there's a lot of slides, guys, so I didn't literally. So again, a lot more portraits. And then for a while I was like, all right, let me just do, because I was getting too many, so I was like, I'm just gonna do pencil portraits because it's quicker. I'm not, colored pencil. So I did a lot more just pencil because it was more affordable. I made it simple. I was like $100 for a portrait. People were like, yes. So I started doing a lot, but I was like, just pencil. That's it. Next. And I'm just gonna quick video. Hit that play button. So as an artist, I started learning about advertising myself. I was like, hey, I gotta do videos. I gotta start doing these things.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Esther here with artcorner.net, and I'm back again with another fantastic video. Well, alright, everyone, in this week's video, I have a pencil portrait for you guys, and this one was commissioned
doing videos to help promote my work from client work.
Nadine.
That's how it works. And when you put it out there, people see it and they'll hire you for another job.
Picture, but I was able to kind of really put it together and complete the look. And without further ado, let's jump right into it.
So they would give me a portrait or a picture, and sometimes they would give me things that I would have to make up. So it's good to be able to be very versatile and draw different things. So from beginning to end, you'll see my process. I speed it up so it's not too long, and when people see it, that's free advertising. I never have to ask anyone, so hey, I'm doing a portrait for this much. All I do is just show what I do, and I'll get another job. Most likely from it, or 2 jobs. Yeah. And that's how it works. And all this is no different than what I would teach one of my students the first day. I teach my students how to do the eye, just like that. Just like that. Just like that. Because because when you see it, it looks very impressive. So if a 10-year-old can do an eye realistically and it looks good, it's like motivation. They're like, oh, what else can I do? And then they want to kind of go to explore the whole process.
How long does it take you to do a portrait from start to finish?
An hour and a half, 2 hours, or 3 hours. Average 2.5, 3 hours. Like this one was about like hour and a half, 2 hours. One person, it's always easier, it's always better.
That was the video, guys.
So
I definitely hope you guys enjoyed that process. I definitely enjoyed doing it as well. And of course, that piece got shipped out to Georgia to Nadine, so hopefully she gets that very soon. And of course, she'll enjoy this video until then. So
it's not about that. It's about you seeing what my skills are, and if another person could probably do a better portrait than I can. It's not about that. It's more about you. So, all right, next. So that's a video that I would typically do for all my videos. And Expression Custom Portrait was one of the first services I offered. Okay, so the next thing is, after doing pencil portraits, people were asking me for more expensive stuff. They were like, hey, I don't want a portrait for $100. can you do a painting for like $600? So that's when I was like, yes, here we go. So these are examples of oil painting portraits. So things like you would see at like the White House, like oil paintings that look super realistic. Like it's high-end stuff, right? So, you know, you gotta kind of raise the price a little bit. So these are examples. Next, that piece right there went to the one in the middle. That went to India. So
Nice.
that's pretty cool. These two, well, this one was a client. Yeah, this one went to India, and then yep, there it is. Yeah, India, and then this is New York and Pennsylvania. Okay, next. Okay, and this is another example of a large. This is a very large painting from a client. A client went on a pilgrimage to Egypt, and he had these pictures, classic pictures, they look great. And he had me paint them very large. Next. Yeah.
How big was that?
36 by 48, but sideways, like very large. As big as my Indian painting there. Yeah, good size. All right, next. All right, so going back to illustration, so I just to show that there's levels to it. I started doing more like popular, like when people ask for certain things, they you know, people are very into certain things. So this was actually a project I did for a school. These are like paper holders, like clipboards, and they asked me to kind of design the backs of all of them so they can give it out for kids' first year of school. So it was like a good project. Yeah, so like ton. They just gave me names of things like Iron Man, you know, Naruto. It was just like Rooster, random things, but you know, and these are just ideas of them all. So illustrations. And all right, you can play this one. This is another concept art, right? You guys are into that, right? So Dungeons and Dragons. Who's into that? Like, people ask me to draw concept drawings of characters, and this is an idea of how I would start a drawing from like the blurry outline, and then I clean it up. Digital. It's incredible. Right? So a client paid me to draw a crow human man with cowboy hats, like, I mean, very, very specific. And, you know, you gotta be able to draw a lot of different things to be able to do concept art, right? So that's just an idea. It's a little dark. And he had a scar in his eyes, and then he should be able to take the hat on and off, right? You had to have two different drawings. So that's an idea of a concept art when someone's doing a game or a project like that, and they want to draw a specific character and they actually draw it. About $150 to $200 on average, like that right there. Next. And that leads me right into the next thing, which is my comic book. I was showing you guys that, but I created a comic book with two of my good friends way back in 2010, and it was just an idea that we stuck with it, and it blew up. Now 4 comic books later, and I'm still making money off of my first issue. I can say that now because I sold that, and now we're expanding. We're redesigning our website. Now we're actually metasavian.com, but we're creating, I'll show you this later on, but we're creating our own animation, and we're creating our own game, like literally functioning game. So, and this is where we started years ago, back in 2011. We did a lot of cool things, like go to like Comic-Cons and small public library. Our books are in the library, and yeah, it's a great opportunity to just do something that you love and get paid off of it, and just work on something with your friends, a collaboration that you can actually kind of like build off of. So this is a whole platform that we create. We created Metasavian to turn real people. These are all real people, friends of ours, that we turn into superheroes so we can help tell their story. So of course it takes time to create everyone's story, but that's why I created the platform, so you know anyone can just create a story out of this universe, and we'll publish it and make money together. And that's how you want to think about it. As an artist, you can really brand and make things bigger, or your own, right? Next. All right, so this is a quick video that we did for the Free Your Mind conference in Philadelphia. Like, we were invited to go out to this Free Your Mind conference because our comic book kind of deals with like just you know, the esoteric and the hidden and things like that. So they invited us out because they saw the potential in our books, and we sold well, really well there. So hit that play button, and this is us unveiling our comic book to the public. And when we played this, they went crazy. They were like, "Oh my God, this is great!" So the idea behind Metasabian is that all of this, and I'll show you some of the game assets too. So my painting, we actually created a program that can actually make it move and blink. So this is very interactive. This is the stuff that a lot of the young kids are like really into, and that's what we're explaining. We're creating a world based off of like anything that we created. So it's not just about my story. It could be about your story. Yours could be about angels and things like that. And that's sorry. All right. Yeah. This is what I'll be teaching in my studio, and I'll explain that later on. Animation, computer graphics. This is what is needed to like for the next generation, because they're really kind of like fused with technology, and we have to kind of put technology with the art together to kind of create that interest. You know what I mean? But it's so close, because I mean I paint on my tablet, and it's very close. I mean it's not the same, but you can get the same effect or look. So 3D, we're doing 3D stuff. We're doing all the things that are in demand right now. That's why I said, like, when you students, if you're really into this stuff, you know, this is the time to really kind of get into it, because you can really kind of get really good by the time you're 2-3 years older. Okay, so yeah, that's Metasabian. So going back to it, so these are my kids' teachers. All right, so Hey, if you want your kids to have a good education, take care of the teachers. Take care of the teachers. My kids were always like, they were like in the front of the room. They were like, "Hey, we're taking care of you."
That's great.
So yeah, and they always loved it. They appreciate it. So after every meet and greet, when you meet the teacher, I would tell them that, "Hey, I'm an artist. I do this comic book thing. Can I make you a character?" They're like, "Yes!" And they loved it. And so they're forever immortalized as superheroes because they taught my kids. Oh, there you go. All right, next picture. Yeah, they loved that. Came out real good. And of course, going into more of the illustration, I did work for the Reading Public Library. I did work for the U.S. Susquehanna like sci-fi day, like comic book groups. A lot of there's so many groups out there that do different things that they're always looking for artists. They're always looking for art. Discord servers, there's groups everywhere that are always looking for artists. But sometimes, you know, they do underappreciate our work because they think that anyone can do it, which is not that true. But, you know, once you get your name out there, people will know who you are. Next. All right, quick little video. I think, yeah, this is a quick character design, another quick character design. Again, this is for Metasabian, for my company, right? And I do the same thing too. So if other people ask me to do it for them, I'll do it for myself as well. Because if you can create your own comic book, you can do one for yourself too, and publish it yourself and put it out yourself. It may take longer, but it's actually better, because later on you can say that you own it. Hey, I did that, and you can make 100%, you know, return on that, or royalties. Okay, so quick one, we don't have to finish this one, but this is another example of me drawing characters, and specifically for a concept or an idea, you know what I mean? Alright, Dad, you can go to the next one, because we have a lot of, I gotta get to the good stuff. Okay, here it is. Alright, so this is, you can actually play this video, Don, right up here. This is the king of cheesy pizza. This goes into the logos. So, small businesses, even large to medium-sized businesses, you know, are always looking to rebrand or have a logo. So one of the local pizza shop in Reading was looking to open up, and I mean, brand new franchise, never. And he was like, the name of it is King of Cheesy Pizza, and he needed the logo, and I gave him a couple of different designs, and he ended up going with this style, and I actually designed it. He paid me to do the style, and he paid me to do the logo in their store, so you get paid twice for the same thing, you know. So logos, if you're good at doing designs, you know, you can put shapes together, you know, logos are a great way to make, but it's not as easy as you think, because a lot of times companies don't know what they're looking for, and they will have you do hundreds of this. Just don't do it. Don't do it unless you have a structure, you know. But I'll explain that on a different thing. But that it's very important, because it's not as easy to do a logo. A logo is branding. It's very, very important, and people are very particular. So it's easy, but it's not because of that. All right. Yeah. Right. All right. Let's go to the next one. All right. Here we go. Down to art classes. Back to classes. Okay. So before I was showing you guys what I was doing at Studio B. All right. And the Goggle Works. I was teaching kids. Kids just gravitated towards me. I just had this thing, this energy, like you said, Rhonda, and they just come towards me like, teach me, and I'm like, okay. But I also have a connection with seniors, my amazing seniors. So I've been teaching at Oakshire for years. I've lost a few, but I gain a lot, and I can never leave there because they're like passing me around. They're like, all right, well, we have another one coming, and they're great. It's like the next person who comes in was another artist, and she was like phenomenal, but she never continued it, you know, type of thing. So let's play this video. This is a quick video of my seniors at Oakshire, and we have an art show after every session.
What's going on, guys? Gene Esther with ArtCorner.net, and I'm here at my amazing senior home, Oakshire, and let's get ready for
I was getting
awesome
chuckled up there. I was like,
art show.
Let's go. All right, so great place. I mean, the seniors, they absolutely love me, and look at how they set up this. I mean, I didn't do any of this. They just do it themselves because I'm just the art instructor, and this is all of the Judy right there. Look at that. Some are basic, but some you'll see. She's new, but you'll see some of their amazing work, and just going down to each table. Yeah. Very simple things that you would do at like painting with a twist, or you know, it depends on their skill level. Yeah. She's amazing. Look at that. Look at that. And I never pick what they want. I have them pick. You know, it challenges me as an art instructor to be like, all right, hey Gene, I want to do this, and I'm like, let's do it. And you know, somehow, some way, it always comes out okay. But you gotta guide them too, because sometimes they fall apart. They're like, Gee, this is terrible, and it's like, all right, well, bring it back. But these are my ladies. If anyone knows any of these ladies, let me know. I'm like, oh my God, that's great. I'll let them know. I meet with them next Monday, so there you go. Look at that. She's really talented right there. I have her do like abstract, and she's like, okay, let's do it. Well, most of the ladies like very basic, you know, flowers, mountains, trees, pictures of where they were when they were young, their pets, snow, angels. That's Nancy. Nancy's great. She's been with me for a while, 5 years. There we go. And I think I got one more. But so these are the classes, and I'm trying to tell them, like, ladies, pay attention. Ladies. Oh, look, they're not even looking. They're not even looking. Look. Ladies. Ladies. Oh. There it is, yeah. She didn't wave. Nancy did not wave. She didn't wave. She was like, I'm just going to look. No. But I love these, like, she passed, but yeah, love them. So you build relationships with people. Like when you're an artist, it's not like, you know, you don't have to just be like, hey, I'm just, you know, like, I'm just gonna do this for it. No, you can really connect with a lot of people if you open up a little bit, you know, and connect with them. And when we have classes, that's what I do. I allow open space to we can talk about anything, not anything, but just talk and just work out a problem solving solution to it. One thing that I've learned too is if you're all right, going back to this real quick. So the next stage of my career brought me to Painting with a Twist. Painting with a Twist, I don't know if you guys know much about it. It's a great company that, you know, paints. You could paint and you have a sip of wine and you get taught by a professional instructor. So I was contacted by Karen. I don't see her in here. I was hired by someone out here, and she saw my videos on Facebook, and she contacted me, and she offered me a job. And at first she was like, she wanted me to become the manager or something like that. I was like, I was working at Studio B, couldn't do it. And I was working at the school, and I was like, oh, I can't do it.
That.
I would be an assistant. No, I'll be like an instructor. But then what happened? So they sent me all the way out to Louisiana. I got trained by these amazing, these are all like other artists that they got trained also from out there. And I became a professional art instructor for the corporation of Painting with a Twist. It was great. I taught there. I quickly became a very popular artist there. They were trying to get me to work more, which I was like, no, I don't want to, because it's a lot of work. But they, yeah, it can get grueling. It can get grueling. Next one. And moving on from that, I, of course, on top of just doing, working at different studios, I did art shows, my own art shows and stuff like that. I connected with other artists, and we were like, hey, let's group up, team up, let's do an art show together, we'll promote it together, and we did that. We did that a few times, and they were always successful, and that's where I would bring my friends and my students, right, that taught, and I showed them, I'm like, this is how you do an art show. Come to my art show, and they would follow me around, and I mean, they would be like, oh, this is awesome. But this is what I need them to see that, because it takes a lot of work. They saw what I was going through. I was pulling out my hair. I was like, oh my God, where's the food, blah, blah, blah. But it ended up being amazing. So remember, art shows. See that? You can make money. Art shows, art events, teaching art. I mean, there's so much there. Oh, is that blank? Yeah, see, it's a very snowy day. No, so white out. There it is. Okay, so going back to Painting with a Twist, really quick video of what Painting with a Twist is like, you know what I mean? So I would be on stage, I would have a mic, and I would teach everyone, everyone would have their own easels and brushes, and everything's set up for them. And of course, you would have to do that before class. And basically, I would instruct them from on the stage, and then I would go down and also record their process too. So by the end of class, they would not only have a finished painting, but from me, they would get a video, because not everybody at Painting with a Twist did that. I was the only one who was doing that, because I knew the importance of advertising and promotion. And they saw that too. They were like, but the other artists weren't into it. So I would always have that. I would play games. People would have a good time. They would drink wine. It's really a great time. I mean, they really have a great setup. All the paints, very nice. And I met a lot of great people there, because the people who took my class, they liked me so much. A lot of them would either follow me on social media. So I met a lot of people from just working at that place. So that's why I said it's important to be out there. If you're in a public space and you're an artist, show yourself, connect with others, right? And that's I think, does it end? Yep, and that's it. So that whole process, so I would guide them through that whole painting process, and there you go, towards the end, have them shake it a little bit, have a good time, sell it, you gotta sell it. And that's what I've learned to be a showman when it comes to things like that. Show the winner, she's excited, and that's really and it's a fun time. It always is. Next. All right, so that was Painting with a Twist. So going back to books. All right, I have a couple of my books. I showed you guys my graphic novel. I've also done books for other writers. So Wally Scott was actually the former mayor of Reading, and he's an amazing writer. And I illustrated the Children's Tree, A Christmas Story for him. Amazing book. I mean, I don't have a copy of it right now, but it is online. Actually, it's on Amazon, and I illustrated that book. Great story. I mean, if you want to know about like the true meaning of Christmas, I mean, that's it right there. Okay. Next one. So that's one book, and then another project I worked on with Wally is Heavenal. Heavenal is like a story of all stories, and I have actually a little bit of the animation. I did a basic animation for him, and I'll show you on the next slide. And basically, it's a really deep. It's religious, but it doesn't talk about religion. It just talks about Judgment Day, and it deals with it has the devil. But aside from that, it has a deeper meaning, and it really opens up a really important dialogue. So next slide, and I'll just show you a quick explanation of the process. So I actually did the video for him as well too. So he paid me to do the artwork,
Before you listen to the story,
and he paid me to do
I think it is
the
important
video.
that you know why it was written. My name is Wally Scott. For as long as I can remember, I have always asked two questions.
This is just about
Why
2
am
or
I
3
here,
minutes worth.
and what
so.
did Adam and Eve see that put us where we are today? One day I was in dire need for an answer to those two questions. I was driving on a country road, deep in thought. I came upon a church and stopped. Without hesitation,
Oh,
I
that's the
went
whole
into
thing?
church.
You
There was
know what?
no
I
one
actually
in
thought
the
I chopped it.
So I knelt and prayed.
That's the whole thing.
I was asking God to please
No,
me.
okay, we're gonna let it play
And what is
like the
my
first
purpose
couple,
in
like
life?
2 minutes,
The
because
lady
this
walked
is
up to me
long
and
by
said she heard
itself.
me asking God why I'm here. I looked up and apologized.
Oh,
for
it can't
the
go any
She asked me
faster.
if
Can
I ever
you
read Revelation.
shift it a little further?
I answered yes. She said, some
bit.
people think that 1/3 of the stars in heaven that were cast out were angels. I got
You can't do it now?
got up and walked out of the church. I went to my car and got a
No?
pen and paper.
Alright, it's okay. Well, we're
I
almost
sat
there
down
anyway.
behind
He's
the church.
got out of the
I
church.
wrote the story you were about to read.
Alright, here it
It
is.
is important that you know that when I was done writing,
But it's a
I read
great
the
story.
and
Just
said to myself,
we'll
"Wow,
play a few minutes,
where did
a
this
minute
come
of it or so,
I
but
hurried back to the front door of the church to show the lady what I had written. But the church door was locked. I could not find the lady.
alright, here it is. So the composition, the music,
Welcome to
Ave Maria,
heavenal.com.
and he also has a
To
website
come to
too.
this site means that you ask the question that has haunted mankind since the beginning of time. Why? Why am I here? I hope you find peace in the
I love
answer.
projects that have meaning, you know, and even if you get yourself into the project of the client, you can really come up with something beautiful. So I did all of the artwork, all of the gray work, the cell shading. I did all that, and I did the video. I will just play just 1 minute, just so you guys can get a feel of it. It's still motion, nothing really moves, but it's the feeling of it.
And it came to pass that time was done, and the final day had just begun. The trees had blossomed, the grass was green, the earth and sky were a heavenly scene. The angels were singing way up high, and all inexistent gave a welcome sigh. A beam of light came piercing through. From heaven to earth it was God. And there caught in its midst, on bended knees, was the bronze form of the satanic beast, with a broken horn and a broken wing. He was exposed to man for all to see. With his hand held high to block the light, he covered his face in the dark of night. And all of mankind felt their souls at peace, as the devil spoke on bended knees. Vengeance is yours, what you will be. I beg of you, God. And with a smirk, he said, forgive me. There was a moment of silence, no one uttered a word. Through all of existence, not a sound was heard. An angel appeared at heaven's gate and told the story that sealed the devil's fate.
Yeah, I did the sound effects. Just thought about that. I'm like, yeah, the sound,
In the beginning,
all that. There's a lot of things to this here. So
were up
I'll
in
let this play
heaven
for a little bit
with
longer.
God.
I want to put you at the
The
good
angel
point
of
here.
light, as he was known to be, was spreading the thought of democracy. The angels of heaven, whom he could not deceive, chanted these words of democracy. Democracy, democracy, let it be. All of God's children are already free. I'm the angel of light, he said, trust in me. I'll guide you down the road to democracy. Democracy, democracy, let it be.
Right.
All of
So
God's children
very deep,
are
very
already free.
sentimental, but there's like another 10 minutes to this. But it goes
13
deep.
little devils
There's
were
a
sitting
whole.
alone,
It's almost like a conspiracy,
scheming to throw God
but
out of his
a great story. But if you guys want to watch this,
13
check out
little devils sitting
that
alone,
movie on YouTube.
needing our
I'm telling
help
you,
to
you won't.
capture
You love
God's
it.
throne.
The ending is the best part. Okay. Because that's like 12 minutes long. I'm gonna be.
Heaven.
All right. Next one. All right. So. A lot of projects I worked on, and then a lot of community. I did a lot of community events. So, from colleges, from small community events in the city, and I did other events in New York. You name it. If there's an opportunity for an artist to be a part of something, I take advantage of it. I've always done that, and I think it got me really far doing that. Now, sometimes you could get really busy and you're overwhelmed, but it's really good to be out there and connect with people and really show people who you are and what you do. All right? Got that. Through that, of course, I've been in a newspaper. I mean, for Studio B, for all the projects that I've done there, for murals. I did a mural at a school. I've done a few murals in a few schools in the city and out in Pottstown too. Yeah, I did one in Washington. Yeah, I did a lot of murals. You name it, I've done it. Next. Okay, and then by this time, this is when oh yeah, there you go. Studio B. This is in the early days when I first started. Just getting your name out there, and you're making waves. People will hear about it, and they'll kind of put your word out there. So Studio B, I had a show there a few years ago. That was a great opportunity. That was an amazing show. I love that. So doing shows, connecting with people. I mean, that's the life of an artist, literally. Next. All right. So real quick, this was one of the biggest shows I've ever had as far as like size-wise. I had an opportunity for Alvernia to have me come out and have a show right before the pandemic. It was like insane. Who would have thought? Like a month after that show, it was like pandemic, boom, shut it down. But play this, and I'll give you an example of some of the paintings that you may not even see because I couldn't bring them all. So go ahead, Don, play that. And this is a quick. I do have this video online somewhere where I actually talk through it, but this is just an example of like large paintings. This is for my graphic novel. These are all different size paintings from my comic book. You see that one right here. Yeah, work big helps. If for some reason for art shows, it's like it has presence. So I did this painting specifically for that show. Like I got it done. That it was still wet, like on the wall. It was crazy. And so these are just examples of some of my other big paintings. You can. Yep. So I have a lot of different series of paintings that I do. This one is part of the Human Nature series, where it's just combining humanity and nature together in a cool design way, right? And then I have characters from my comic book, so it's a little bit of fusion of illustration, fine arts. Okay. Some of my smaller pieces that you don't see here. Most of my paintings are now oils, but I still do a lot of acrylic paintings, and I teach in acrylic. So there you go.
Say your wife.
No, it looks like her though.
Like her,
Her
yeah.
face, yeah, because her eyes. Yeah, a lot of people say that too. I'm like, yeah, it kind of does look like her. So, all right. So this show was at the Miller Gallery at Alvernia, and again, it was a great opportunity. I mean, the setup was really, really nice, and a lot lot of wall space and it had a lot of people show up and support, so that came out really good. Some of the horses, so that's an oil painting also. You guys see that one? That's the cover of my comic book and my profile pic and everything else. I use that for everything. I gotta change that. Yeah. One day I will, one day. Yeah. Alright, so I think that's about it. Alright, let's go to the next one. Because I want to have too much, because I do have more. Alright, so for my gallery shows, you need big paint, you need something to really stand out. So I was sharing with you guys, so this is part of my human nature series. Again, take humanity and nature together, combine it. This is part of my native series where I take native tribes, native groups, group cultures that you rarely see, and create a really powerful painting from it. And then of course I have animals. I love animals. I have a cat myself, and that is not her. But she looks like a tiger. But but I love animals. So I love doing portraits. If you look at all my pieces, I mean, things that if you're like, I was always good at drawing people. So it's like I was always naturally good at drawing in the eyes and all that. So I'd like to draw portraits. If you look at a lot of my paintings, it's a lot of that. I can draw nature. I can draw landscapes too, and other things. But I always go back to portraits in some ways. Next one. Okay, more of my and this is the only one I have left. All right, so all of the other ones that you saw are my best-selling pieces. Are my human nature pieces. The colors, the meaning, I guess, behind it. But yeah, that's the last one I have left. Next. Yeah, see again. Pharaoh's masks, and of course my character's akin. Next. And alright, so this is a quick video of showing you the process of what I do to create these paintings. So this one is of the chief, which is the Native American, and I always start on a black canvas. I mean, either dark gray or black, or something that just shows contrast. And there's reasons for that too, because especially if you want things to pop from the shadows. So I always, primed it black, and then I would draw my character, and go ahead and play that, and you'll see the process. You'll see how I lay down my foundation colors, and then I slowly build to my highlights. All right, and that's all you do. You just pull from the dark. Pull from the dark. Lay it a little heavy, because you're gonna blend it, right? You're gonna soften it out, right? So throw it heavy. So the chief oil painting. Remember, every painting, every piece that I do, find a way to set up a camera. Find a way, because record the experience. At least for that. Like for me, like now I'll never forget that I did this, because there's pieces that I've drawn, and if I don't have a recording of it, I'll be like, it's just fades away. It's like I'll have to kind of like look at it and be like, oh yeah, I think I did do that. But so I always set up a camera. I always start with monochromatic. Start with basic colors, just brown, white, and that's it. And then slowly build. And then I go into like more of the flesh tone afterwards, and then build. See, I pop in the highlights, feather it down. Pop it up, feather it down. And that's how you can really get a layered feel, And then pop in some of the richer colors, blend it in, and it just comes out right from the dark, right from the black of the canvas. Because most of the painting is black, but I just pull what stands out. Alright? And it takes a while. That would take about 6 hours, maybe. Because you're blending, you're going one small brush at a time. So, and this was a couple of days. Yeah, longer. Yeah, I think I'm saying 6 hours, probably like 8 or 10. You're right. Time is relative. Time doesn't even exist, right? It's like when you're painting, it's like that. All right, I think that's the ending right there. So that's usually my process. So again, I share my process. It's not like it's a mystery. Like, how did he start? Where did he start from? I share it because the age of the internet, it's like nothing's a secret anymore. You can't really, I mean, I know every magic trick and how it works now because you can just look it up, right? So why not share, be popular for sharing your ideas. Like, that's what I learned that the early days. I was like, no way. Some guys are like, oh, don't show people how you draw. I'm like, what? No, it's terrible. Share. More people will appreciate you and learn from you. And I'm an instructor, so I have to share so people can learn. So of course, so I do landscapes. Like, I had to show you guys something else besides the faces. So I do landscapes, and this is for my comic book, creating fantasy worlds, awesome layouts and stuff like that. I could do it digital, but sometimes I like to do it traditional just to kind of say that I did it. Next. All right, and all this stuff, I just threw it all in there because there's a lot of stuff. So art shows, remember, art shows. I always do big shows for art shows. Popularize it, get on the newspapers, things like that. We'll have shows with family, have them come out and they support your shows. Sell pieces. That's how you really make it big as an artist. So from learning all this, I'm literally applying it to, hey, I'm gonna create my own place and invite people there and do the same thing there and kind of grow from there. And that's how you want to do it. Next. All right, and that's where I am right now. So right out there in Lower Alsace, I bought a property 2 years ago, and slowly, right, this is the pandemic and everything, we're rebuilding it. My family, I know it's gonna be awesome. It's the old school, like, this is sliding, but it's like it's
industrial.
Yeah, it's gonna look really nice. And basically, we're rehashing it. Next. I'm putting it together, and this is what the top looks like. The bottom, we're gonna paint it too, and we're gonna have murals, we're gonna have panels, where we're gonna have artwork, and this is the new place called Art Corner. This is the actually brick and mortar of Art Corner. Now it's not just a online service company, it's an actually brick and mortar. So as soon as all the renovations are done, which is hopefully this year, we'll be zoned and we'll be a legitimate gallery studio, and we're going to be doing art classes, teaching animation, teaching kids, students after school, doing all the cool things that I normally do, but on a level where the thing I want to share with everyone is how I'm going to do this differently is because the students are I'm actually going to train them to kind of create as they're learning, and through that support them, promote them, and get them out to the world. So I just want to create a platform for the next generation of students, and that's why this is so important. Next. So yeah, if you play this is like an example of what the inside looks like. It's not as big as you look, right? It's very narrow. But so we did the flooring ourselves. I mean, this is just an example of like, this is like elbow grease. Like, I literally know the inside of this whole house. I put the sheetrock and everything, and understanding how to build something with your hands is like a huge, like, it makes you feel good. It's like, yes, I can build, and it's a great opportunity. So now that we appreciate it more. We renovated it from top to bottom, and it's looking great. So next one should show, I think, a little bit more. I don't remember. Yeah. I did most of the work, though. My wife was like washing this. So, all right. So this is the video of the renovation process. I mean, now, granted, there was like demolition. We had to demo a lot of things, rip all the walls out. But this is the video we put out to let people know where we're at and how much closer we're getting. And my two friends, of course, who work with me on the comic book, they've been there ever since, and they're a part of the situation. Bruce Jones, he doesn't have that afro anymore, and Dan Nusky. So yeah, we're basically like a small team of artists. That's why I say you gotta collaborate, get with a group, and you can form a team and just kind of work on something together and be serious about it. And so this was like a dream come true, where we're literally creating a space that we're going to be using to, work.
Well, it's going real well right now. We're in the
felt like like I was doing something there, but the real work was back there. He was a spring. Like, that's a good friend of ours, Mike. Yeah. So yeah, and so in a day we painted the studio, and we got ourselves one step closer. So now we're a lot further along. We got the flooring done. I showed you that earlier. And yeah, it was a project, a labor of love. we really worked our butts off to make this space like a reality. So nothing's impossible. All right. All right. Let's move to the next one. It doesn't show much more than that. All right. So now this is where we are. So this is actually a class. This is the unofficial class I tried out. A friend of mine, she does she run a Girl Scout, and she was like, Gene, is there any way we can do an art party or something like that? I was like, well, yeah. Well, my space is kind of done. I'm not open yet, but we can, create a closed studio for you guys, and I want to see how much people are, will it work? And play this video. And this is towards the end of the pandemic, but we were still being safe, and we masked up. I had like hand sanitizer, the whole nine, but it was socially distanced. It was really good, and that was my first art class in the studio, and I wanted to see if it worked. I even hired my art student, Josh. He was assisting, so he got paid to assist me in this art class.
Wow.
And that's really what it's all about. Look at that.
Awesome.
And basically, I think this was a Yoda, a baby Yoda or something like that. So this was actually my first unofficial class to see if it's possible, and it was really, really successful. I kind of ran it almost like a painting with a twist style, just take breaks in between, take photos. I gave out a few prizes, things like that. All right, Don. Let's go to the next one. There it is. Okay, and finally, all right. So I think is that the last one, John? Don? Close.
Yeah.
All right. So finally, I wanted to share with the last thing I actually really learned from about a year ago. I dove into animation, and I was like, you know what? I know a little bit about it. I'm good at it. I just don't have the just to do it over and over. I could draw something good once or twice, but 10, 20 times, it was a little tough. But I really pulled through because I really wanted to get better at animation, and animation was something that a lot of my students were actually going to school for. Yeah, I have a few of my students going to SCAD. Olivia, a lot of students from Studio B, 3 of them going to SCAD.
Yeah.
3 SCAD, and they're doing animation. And how about this, Marley? Marley's gonna work with me. She's working. I'm actually hiring her to do some of the coloring for my animation, and I'm like, and she's gonna be in the credits, and that's gonna go towards her portfolio. That's my idea, was always to include the people that I taught, and why not train them by giving them jobs, opportunities while they're learning, so it motivates them to keep going, and they'll be more successful that way. So Metasapian, again, that's like my graphic novel. It means beyond all possibilities, basically. It's a way to help people go beyond themselves. Like if you were a superhero kind of thing, it's like a motivational thing, but wrapped around a very, a world that needs heroes desperately kind of thing. So the animation is for the comic book, but now it's its own thing. It's actually a larger story. We're creating a bigger lore, so people can really kind of explore it. It's like almost like a sandbox, So hit that, and I'll show you some of the animation that we've gotten so far. We have about 29 minutes of animation, and this is me a year after learning it. So it can only get better. So this is like my first animation I did right there. That right there was my first running animation. And now it's, I colored it in, we have a background. Don't mind the editing, but this is what...
Is it digital?
It's digital, yeah.
Cool.
It's all on the iPad. I use, and this is literally
Is it
some
like
of the...
Procreate or?
No, I use Procreate. I use Procreate, but it's Flip-a-Clip for the animation.
Okay.
Very basic, but I use other programs too. So this is some of the scenes, some of the uncolored scenes. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. I mean, there's rules to this place. You have to be born, of course. So there's a lot.
That's
So
big word.
yeah, I know it is. I know it's so cool. It's cool. You gotta love it. So some of the running scenes, I drew all these frame by frame. This shows the protagonist or the bad guy, and all this is from we have about 30 minutes worth of animation, and the storyline is good. I'm gonna be looking for voice actors. Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, voice actors. I have some of my students taking part in that, but we're gonna need some like some older people. I'm like, it sounds so young. But yeah, I'm like, well, I can sound like this. I'm like, no, Josh, your voice doesn't. It's not working. Yeah. So this is like what I'm using. Like literally, I'm using this as the launching pad for a lot of my art classes. You know, I'm going to be doing a lot of animation art classes, anime, and of course concept design. So my students once they enroll, they'll have almost like an assignment or little projects where they'll get closer to working on something. Not just like drawing for drawing's sake. Yeah, you're learning, but I want everyone creating. If you can create something as a group and partner, I'll partner everybody up to create something, and at the end of the at the end of the class, we'll have a project that we can all be like, hey, we did that. That's the goal. That's how we change. That's how we teach the next generation. Because if not, no one's gonna be interested in art. No one's gonna really. They're gonna be like, I don't want to do this.
That's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen. No, not with people like you. If you're helping a whole family of artists, but that's my goal. I mean, actually, yeah, that's my speech, guys. But that's my my life as a whole, and I couldn't have it any other way, because it's something that I've always dreamed of being, which is an artist, sharing what I do, sharing what I love, and being recognized for it, and it's the best feeling. All right, thank you guys. Thank you so much. Any questions? Any questions at all? If you guys have any questions, I can ask or I can answer. Yeah, at night, yeah, eventually, yeah. No, but
Your energy level.
I work until I'm exhausted, though. That's one thing, though. My wife says that too. So I can, because working in the daytime and then working for other clients and then working for yourself, it's like it does take a lot of time. But when you're doing what you love, it doesn't seem like it's hard. You know what I mean? If I was doing something I didn't like, oh man, give me a minute of that. I'm like, no. Yeah, you'll work hard if it's your own thing for some reason. It's weird. It's like,
But motivation.
It's motivation, right? And it's interest too. It's like what you like, because I can make myself interested in a client job because it's like, oh, client. Yeah, I gotta make sure. But it's not. It's different when you're like super focused on, like, I've had to turn down some client work because I was so into my animation, because I was trying to get better, because I was kind of frustrated. But then I'm like, I could do this. So, but that year, I had to really kind of sacrifice a lot of just not being out there. I wasn't posting a lot on Facebook because as soon as I post, it's like I would get another job opportunity, which is great, but not when you're trying to do something you've never done before, and it's like kind of stressful because you're like, oh man, I really want to do this, but I have to do a painting for a client. And it takes up.
They respect that because they see you taking your business seriously.
Yeah.
So they know that you're taking them seriously.
Absolutely. Yeah. It goes both ways. Absolutely. Yeah. Definitely. And anything else though?
Do you know when? Do you have any idea when Art Corner is going to be open?
Yeah. Hopefully this year. I'm like this. I'm like so confident. I said that last year, and but who would have thought the pandemic would But no lie, after when the pandemic first hit, it did allow me to, like, when everything was shut down, it did allow me to work on the studio. I got the studio further along because of that, because I didn't have to stop and do client work and things like that. It just stopped, and so I got further along. But I definitely want to get further. But this year would be it. I just got to paint the outside, the bottom, and then do the zoning. Right, that's like $700, and then go through that, past that, and then the only thing I'm worried about, lastly, is just access. Like accessibility, which is like. Yeah, that's the only thing I worry about, because worst. Yeah, I know that. That's the only thing I'm like.
I know it. I do it.
You do it for real? All right, I'm gonna have to call you. I'm gonna have to call you for that, because that's important. That's the only thing. And for me to do that, it is possible. I just have to kind of make that happen. So that's the only thing I'm worried about, is the accessibility, because the doors are wide enough. I have the bathroom door.
Do you need a ramp?
I need a, yeah. That's all I'm thinking.
Can't we just build one?
Yeah, but there's no real like. It's not. It's weird. I would have to go like.
Spacing.
Yeah, the spacing and how
It's
it's
weird,
set
isn't
up.
it?
Yeah, it's kind of odd, but we'll see. We'll see. But hopefully this year. But I do have a backup plan. I mean, and plus I got good credit, so we'll have to. Good credit helps anything. No, really, they're like, hey, you could pay for that. I'm like, I don't like taking loans out.
How old are your kids now?
19
What?
and 17. Come on, talk to me.
Oh my god.
19 and 17. Yeah, I know.
It's 19 and 17.
19 and 17.
You look 16.
Thank you very. No, I'll take that. I'll take that.
You've come a long
No,
way
I'm
in your
40.
short
I'm
life.
40.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I hit 40. I'm going to be 41 this year. Are you kidding me?
Oh, my God.
Well, that's a benefit.
I got
of
the
having
look. I got the
babies,
grays. I got the. I'm getting there, guys. Oh man.
Shut up, it's not like you're in a club we're in.
Yeah.
What do you mean? I'm in the same club. Wait. Oh, you're like.
Yeah. The
We're like
whole
same.
30-person club. That's what we're talking about.
We're in our 40s, right? 40s, right? No.
I love you.
All right. Well,
Remy.
obviously you guys.
Love you.
Well, you guys look great, obviously, so I can tell. I'm like.
He's 22, gonna be 23 in a minute.
Great.
It's all grown up. I think I saw her like a while ago on Facebook. I'm like, look at fuck, Polly's grown up. I'm telling you, we're getting older, guys. We're getting older.
That was lovely, Gene.
Yes, I know. Thank you.
How do you know how much you charge for your artwork?
You contact me because here's what I found out. Because I actually don't have, since I have a lot of clients in New York and New Yorkers.
Different prices.
Yeah, different prices. That's why. Yeah, I had to. But contact me out here for. It's way like if I do a portrait for people in Pennsylvania, it's $99. $100 for one person. If it's any other, any other person out, $50, added. But New York, it's a different story. I'm playing. $200-$300. $200-$300. Like they'll be insulted if I.
Yeah, they
give
don't
them
want
a-
it for
Yeah,
them.
it's
Yeah.
weird. They're like.
You're
Yeah,
not
New
giving
York
them
is
the
different.
charge
Yeah.
any less.
Yeah, if they're from New York, I have to. It's almost like I have to charge them more because they'll.
No,
It's
marketing.
so weird.
You have to
It's the money. The money's different.
Yeah, the marketing.
Yeah.
What about for prints?
Oh, prints?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's super affordable. I'll work with you on that. Yeah. $5-$10 prints. I'm actually getting.
We have to talk.
Yeah.
We have to talk.
What you got better deals on prints?
We have to.
Really? Oh, man. See, I do a lot of. That's why, like, even with prints, I kind of fell off of that.
We can
because-
pay for your stairway once we get.
Really?
this, yes.
Oh, I like her. Okay. That's your number, right? Yeah, we'll talk. You guys, obviously, you know what's going on. Yeah. Yeah, I see it. All right. We'll talk because that's important.
20 years. 20 years professional.
Really? Okay. Yeah, that's the one thing about me. I'm always like, I think I only did one time. I actually did a Kickstarter for my comic, which I did good though. It was like $1,100. I'm like, oh. But and it's weird for me to ask for money like that. But certain things I'm like, all right, you know what? For my students and for what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to do is just be more open and more transparent. Let people know what I'm doing and if they want to give or share, and I'm gonna have like a share button or a donate button or something like that. I want to just set things up and we'll talk. All right. Any other questions, guys? Any questions? Anything else? Any questions, Bob?
Anybody
All
else?
right.
Can I give you a hug?
No? Oh yeah, I know. Hey, I owe you for everything. Oh yeah, I told you. This is who got me into Studio B. I told you, right? Well, I sound like somebody got me into
We have a
Studio.
show coming in June. Look on the
I'll be
website.
there. I'll be there.
Yeah, all right.
Wait. When?
Word.
'Cause
In
I haven't-
June, mid-June.
Mid-June.
Yeah, this is it.
Coming. I'm just coming to
Jury
show
show.
up. I
Just
want
look on
to
the
be
website.
here.
And all your artists can submit.
Everyone can submit.
Yeah, you can submit.
Oh,
Yeah.
say no more. All right.
Gene.
I love you. Take care, ladies. Thank you so much, guys. So, my artwork is here, and if you guys have any questions, you guys can pull me aside. All right, definitely. And thanks for coming. I appreciate you all. You, I need to talk to you. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. You guys are awesome. That was great. Thanks for having me, Don. Thank you. You're the man.